Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and I will be reacting to another Sri Lankan song. This is my fourth Sri Lankan song that started out with these three. Maya Taxikaraya, and I forget what this one's called, Santana something, about the love between a professor and his student. And then this very beautiful spiritual song called Vali Tala Atare, a very spiritual kind of Buddhist enlightenment type of song. And today's song is from a movie from 1980. I don't know anything about it. Just before I press record, I searched the synopsis. And so I'm going to read the summary just so I know what the context is of the movie, because otherwise I'm just listening to a song and I don't know the language. So I'd like to kind of know a little bit. And so this is what it says. It says, Hansa Vilak, The Swan Lake, released on October 24th, 1980, is a groundbreaking Sri Lankan drama film directed by Dharmasiri Bandaranayake. Sorry, like really long words like that are very hard for me. It explores adultery, social taboos, and psychological breakdown in an urban traditional society. Whoa. Drama. Okay, core storyline. Nisanka, a married man with children, and Miranda, a married woman, have a secret affair. Their lives break apart when police raid and expose them in a hotel room. Both leave their respective families and choose to live together, defying social norms of marriage and divorce. Cracks form quickly when Miranda secretly goes back to visit her former husband. OMG. Whoa. Nisanka grows deeply paranoid over her secret visits. His mind breaks down, causing him to lose his grip on reality and slip into a world of delusion and fantasy. Whoa, that sounds like a really complex film with a very relatable subject. So, yeah, again, it's so interesting because I'm from the United States. And so in the United States, we mainly watch American movies. And then there's some international movies that get famous here, like once in a while, like Italian. Italy had Life is Beautiful, right? So there's like some foreign made movies that will become prominent. There was some from Korea a few years ago. I forget what it's called, but that really good Korean director, he was nominated for a bunch of stuff. It was about like the class warfare and like it was kind of like a thriller. So once in a while, a really good foreign film will make its way into America and people will know about it. But other than that, we pretty much don't know about any foreign movies. And the only thing I know a little bit, just because one of my good friends growing up was from India. So I did watch some Bollywood films growing up. And I know Sri Lanka and India are different countries and they only have some similarities, but not that many similarities besides like being geographically close to each other. But I used to watch these Bollywood movies and they were all like musicals, so where people would sing and there was like a lot of dancing and it was very dramatic and there'd be like a wind machine and like, so for my eye as an American, I found the movies like very over dramatic and cheesy, I guess now we'd call that kind of cringe just because it's not done in a style that was common when I was growing up in America. It was almost like a 1930s or 1940s American musical, but then it was like set in like the 2000s, like early 90s or 2000s were a lot of the ones I saw. Like Mohabbaten, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. They're all like Shah Rukh Khan movies. Hum Saath Saath Hain, that's a really good classic one. Anyway, so I know a little bit about Bollywood, but then just the plot of this movie is like, whoa. I mean, some French films are kind of like that. Anyway, let's just dig into the music because that's who I really am. So what am I even talking about? Though I do know a lot about film, you guys just don't know how much I know about film. My parents are major film buffs. They see movies almost every night of the week. They're either going to the theater or watching a movie at home. They're very into film. So for all the years that I lived with my parents, film and TV was like a big part of my life. And then I just haven't really seen movies as much in the last 10, 15 years. But when I was growing up, I knew so much about film. So I'm really good at like predicting plot and stuff like that, just because I've seen so many. All right, let's hear this racy soundtrack movie called Paramasiri Ke Madasa. And maybe, let's see, the film is called that. So maybe this is the name of the song. And maybe I need to look up this because there's probably... Yes, that's it. That's what I need. I need the full translation of this. Translation to this. Will they give it to me? Oh, good. Yes. Yay, Google. I know it's never right. I know like it's not direct because look, translations are always slightly wrong, but let's just get the general idea. Spreading wings, feathers, and slow rhythm from the smooth sheet of the gentle bed, birds of thought have flown escaped. It is a flower, let it be a flower, adorned with a smooth, delicate form. If it is a lake, let it be a lake, born from the blue water lily's waters, intoxicated by the pollen and fragrance of fresh cosmetic powder. The valley of dreams blossoms in full, addressing my heart with a soft, gentle voice, releasing and breaking away from the walls of the majestic bed. Whoa, this is deep, sensual poetry about adultery and love and lust. Okay, let's listen.
Hemin Sare piya vida, Hemin Sare piya vida.
Sumudu sayane sinindu ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
Pala ඇවිත් සිතුම් සියොතුන්.
Sumudu sayane sinindu ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
Wow.
මලක් නම් මෙය මලක් වුවමැන
සිනිදු සුකොමල රුවෙන් සරසන
විලක් නම් මෙය විලක් වුවමැන
නීල ඉඳුවර තියෙන් උපදින
Hemin Sare piya vida.
සුමුදු සයනේ සිනිඳු ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
Pala ඇවිත් සිතුම් සියොතුන්.
සුමුදු සයනේ සිනිඳු ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
නැවුම්වත් සුළු රොණින් මත් වී
සීනනින්න සුපුෂ්පිත වේ
සිහින් හඬකින් මහද අමතයි
මුදා හැරතා පවුරු සිරියහනි
Hemin Sare piya vida.
සුමුදු සයනේ සිනිඳු ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
Pala ඇවිත් සිතුම් සියොතුන්.
සුමුදු සයනේ සිනිඳු ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
Wow. Okay, I have so much to say about that song. Okay, first of all, the fact that they're going back and forth with the lines to each other, it also shows I think it's very masculine energy and then receptive feminine energy. Again, I don't have the direct translations, but he's saying an idea and then she's like complimenting the idea. Like it's almost like yin yang or something. It's like he's like, again, I don't know the exact translations, but spreading the wings or feathers in slow motion, right? And then she's like, from the smooth sheet of the gentle bed. Okay. So everything she adds to it is adding like a layer of dimension, right? So it's like, it just shows like the love between two people and how there is such polarity between men and women. And you hear that in the contrast of their voice and in the melody. Okay. He sings one melody and then she sings the other. Now I will attempt to sing some of the melodies poorly. Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys the translation screen so I can read from that and then you still will hear this. Let's see. Let's get this all set up. Okay.
Hemin Sare vida.
Okay. Hemin Sare vida. That's such a nice. And then she has the response melody.
Hemin
Sare vida.
Sumudu sayane sinindu atirillen.
I can't say that, but that's the best I can do. So it's like Hemin Sare vida twice. And then he says the next one in his original melody. I love that. I'd be able to say that we don't have that sound in English. So birds of thought have flown and escaped. And then she says, if it is a flower, let it be a flower. So she's like, again, it's like adding a color that I think a lot of times, I mean, really, we have a little culture wars going on now in America for sure. I don't know if this is the whole world, but a lot of women are saying like, oh, it's really hard to date right now. There's no one to date. And then men are like, oh, there's no one to date, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, the male loneliness epidemic, blah, blah, blah. But in my opinion, from what I've seen throughout my life and just how generally, again, men will claim they don't want women anymore and all this stuff. But I think it's like a defense mechanism. I found that every man that I've ever loved and have been in a relationship with, they find that the woman really enhances their life, not only in like their beauty and their sensuality and their sexuality, but there's like this, like, I don't know, we have an expression, a man could buy a house, but the woman makes it a home, something like that. Like the woman turns a house into a home. So it's like, there's like this magical aura that a woman's presence can bring based on like their kind of naturally divine spirituality. And a lot of religions have this concept of kind of divine femininity, that women are actually holier than men, which kind of makes sense because men are very lustful typically, or they're more subject to their like animal emotions, right? And it's like we have different brains. Like women's brains are kind of geared just as generally. So don't like, this is just what I've seen in my many decades of living. Women kind of, for example, like if they have a baby, they have like a very strong natural instinct to take care of a baby and care for it and love it and like really nurture it. And a lot of men don't have that natural instinct. I mean, they want to protect and provide for the baby, but it's not the same like, oh, they want to like get up all day and they're getting joy from watching the child play on the floor while you're just like rocking a stroller for hours. I find that women have a natural instinct to do that. And men will do it if they're good supportive husbands and whatever, but not often do they get actual affirmation from that. I can't explain it. Like they get a lot of affirmation in the external world, like from working, from accomplishing, from making money, whatever. So I find there's like a spiritual thing that like women bring into relationships. And so I think that's very here. Now, the other thing cool about this song is I like how there's the string interlude with Western strings. And then they also have the sitars. And I'm pretty sure, which I've talked about in the other And I'm still learning all the instruments, but I do read the comments. There's also a flute that's an Eastern flute, like a Sri Lankan instrument. So
Sumudu sayane sinindu ettirillen.
see, she has the same response. Okay, now I want to talk about their ah part. So she starts, ah, and I thought he was going to sing the same melody. Instead, he sings a counter melody, and then it becomes a duet melody. Because she sings it first, and that's showing a lot of passion. He sings back her melody, ah, and she goes, ah. She goes really high. Okay, here's like a flute interlude. Now, Eastern sitars, I think, in harmony.
මලක් නම් මෙය මලක් වුවමැන
Sinidu
Sindu sukamamarulam sasana.
sukomala ruwen sarasana.
Now, I thought that was interesting because he repeats her last line in his melody that she just said in her melody. Then he's repeating it like he's actually listening to her. Which, wow, a man actually listening to a woman? Wow, that's, it's a joke. But like a lot of women feel like their husbands don't hear what they say. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, like I got, I don't know. I feel like this is a very relatable thing. Like women will tell their husband something like, oh, I heard there's this really good restaurant in town, blah, 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 blah. The husband will not even hear it. It's like he doesn't even like register that she's talking to him, okay? Then he'll come home like 2 weeks later and be like, I just found out about this restaurant from my coworkers. It's a really good restaurant. And she's like, I literally have been telling you that for like months, okay? Like literally, like this is a common thing that women will say. That like they'll literally be saying something, their husbands just completely block them out. So I find it's a very big expression of love that he actually copies exactly what she just said. But to show the differences between men and women, he's actually then singing it in his melody, which shows that not only does he understand it, he's able to personally relate to the idea, but make it his own. So it's like, again, masculine and feminine energy, but he's like understanding and he actually responds it to her. So I find that actually, again, that's all women want often in the relationship is that the man actually listens to them. Because I don't know what it is, but I'll tell you with my children as well, because they're over 12. When kids get over 12, they also stop listening to their parents. And my daughter and son have said, we just don't even hear what you're saying. Like you'll like be talking to us and they just don't listen. They just are like, bloop, block it off.
විලක් නම් මෙය විලක් වුවමැන
And she earlier was doing the form of, if it is a flower, let it be a flower, right? And then now has a different melody. Vilak nameya vilak vumana. If it is a lake, let it be a lake. Basically, if we have love, if our relationship is full of lust, let's just let it be. Let's just let it happen.
Nila induwara tien upadina.
Again, she's adding in very sensual color to the statement. If I was to sing this in English, born from the blue water, lilies waters. Okay? He went back to the beginning. Hemin Sare pia vida. Hemin Sare, the spreading wings in slow rhythm. It'd be like slowly rocking the spreading wings, or like feathers floating away. Da-da. Notice how even the way he sings it sounds like what he's saying. It's kind of like rocking a cradle. Da-da, 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 da-da.
Sumudu sayane සිනිඳු ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
පලා ඇවිත් සිතුම් සියොතුන්
Palavi setum siotun.
සුමුදු සයනේ සිනිඳු ඇතිරිල්ලෙන්
I had to turn off my mic filter so you guys could hear that without it getting suppressed.
නැවුම්වත් සුළුරොනින් මත්වී.
Yeah, so this is a really good... Okay, so anyway, the point is, you guys are going to love it. The country of Sri Lanka, according to the comments, already said they'd roll out the red carpet for me. They're like, Erica, you're a star in our country already. I'm like, really? Have I been posted on like the Sri Lankan Twitter, etc.? They're like, we'll roll the red carpet for you. You'll be treated with the utmost. I'm like, fine. When I'm invited to... do they have a king? I don't know. If I'm invited to the palace, or if I'm invited to the state dinner, I will come, okay? I will come if I am that famous. But I really think it's actually a genuinely really good song, and it's so deeply written. And I think being able to do the and the and then he repeats the and she goes over it, and it makes a harmony. So good. Really, really good. Now, someone in the chat said, if that's true about listening, then how come when I ask my wife what's wrong, she says nothing? That's because women want you to be able to read their minds. Okay? We're like, you should already know why we're upset. Okay? It's like, what's wrong? It's like, nothing. Okay? Let me tell you something about women. If you ask your wife, are you hungry? And she says no, that means you should assume she's hungry and you should bring her dinner. As my brother learned about his wife, he's like, if he goes to get a coffee at Starbucks, he gets her a coffee at Starbucks. Even if he doesn't even know for sure she wants a coffee at Starbucks, just get the coffee, okay? If you're getting a coffee, bring her a coffee. So her whole upset is like, what's wrong? Nothing. She actually means, you should already know why I'm upset because everything you've done to upset me, it's all your fault. But you should already know that. Don't even ask, what's wrong? Be like, I already know that I've offended you and I apologize for whatever I did. Or, oh, you're probably upset because I wasn't listening to you when you were telling me about that random thing. So my solution to all of this is just don't talk to your husband that much, okay? Be mysterious. Talk to your friends. Make them wonder about you. Don't be too open. Don't tell them everything. Just be like, do, mysterious, and then like, just do your own thing. Go out with your friends all the time. And then they're like, wait, why is my wife not paying attention to me? Then they'll start to pay attention. But if you're constantly nagging them and stuff, they're going to be like, I'm not listening to her. Don't say anything to them. And then when you want to tell them about this great restaurant you want to go to, just listen and take her to the restaurant. But it's always like, oh my gosh, I just got this amazing recipe from this person at my work. It's like, I've been telling you about that. I've been cooking that same recipe for like 15 years. It's like something weird, but I'm telling you, I've seen all my friends complain about this exact thing in their marriages. It doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. Also, if you want to be a very smart wife, you have to convince your husband it was his idea. That's actually the smarter thing to do. Rather than telling him you had an idea, put the idea in his head so he thinks his idea. Unfortunately, it requires a woman to have like such an adept manipulation ability that she's like above the fact. She doesn't need to be the one that gets recognition, okay? Like, she doesn't need to get the recognition for picking the restaurant. She knows it's a good restaurant, but her husband needs to get the recognition for picking the restaurant. So you have to convince him that he thought of the idea, so then you can be like, oh my God, you're my hero. You picked the most amazing restaurant. And then he thinks that he picked the most amazing restaurant. But really, she was behind it all along. And unfortunately, that's what you have to do to be in a happy relationship. But a lot of women are like, that's ridiculous. Like, why should I have to play these games? And I'm like, I don't write the rules. I just know what works. Okay? Unfortunately. It's annoying, okay? It's very annoying, but that's just how, honestly, how most boys are made. And I know because I have one girl and one boy. And they get a lot of pride from like coming up with ideas. So, yeah, you just have to have like the humility. You have to have the self-confidence in yourself to know like, yes, I came up with this idea, but I don't really care if he gets upset about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I came up with this idea, but I don't need to get the recognition for coming up with the idea. Let him have the recognition for coming up with the idea, because then he'll be happy. And when men complete tasks, they get more testosterone, and then they feel like better and stronger and like more masculine. Okay, so you have to give them easy wins so that they can like do that. Okay, next I'm gonna start a whole channel about like relationship advice. So anyway, that's true. As Dan said in the chat, some women don't want the attentiveness. But that's probably an avoidant person. That's probably someone who she doesn't want to be bought. Like, she gets annoyed by everything. Like, just leave me alone. Okay, there are people like that. That is true. Some women just want to be left alone. But that's more of like I'm very independent and I don't need, maybe they're like an only child or they're the oldest, okay? If you're the youngest child or a middle child from a big family, you probably like the attention because you didn't get a lot of attention. But if you were an only child, you're not used to answering to anybody. And if you're the oldest child, you're also not used to answering to anybody. So I think birth order matters a lot in that situation. She's probably either the oldest or she's an only child. And so she's not used to people like bothering her, because the oldest child never has to deal with the younger siblings. They're just like, this is what I'm going to do. I know because I dated an oldest child. They just do what they want to do, and they don't have any consideration for anyone else in the family, okay? Me, as the second of four and the only girl, I'm like a peacemaker, okay? So I'm like easygoing, whatever happens, would go with the flow, typey personality. I'm so easy, but I like the social interaction because I had a big family, so I like having like people around all the time. Now, if I'm focused and I'm concentrated and I'm in my ADD hyper-focused, then yes, don't bother me unless you want to see the dragon awaken. But that's just ADHD hyperfocus. Like, I'm really focused, and then like someone bothers me and I'm like, did you just speak to me while I'm focused? And then the dragon, that's why, Yoshi awakes. Rah, rah. And if I'm really mad, I might even just throw Yoshi over there. But anyway. So yes, that is the thing. But yes, as the chat is now lamenting about feminists and all that and whatever, all I can tell you is what I've learned is that I'm kind of post-feminist, that if you work with people's nature rather than work against it, your life is easier. But it just requires you to understand the nuances of personality, and you have to kind of work around it. That's all. It's complicated. So anyway, this was an amazing song. I think it might be my favorite Sri Lankan song so far. Not that. This. Whatever we just heard. Now, it will go on the Sri Lankan playlist, and I'm still waiting for my invitation from from the king, the emperor, whatever. I have to look that up. It might be a prime minister. I don't know. Whoever's in charge over there, I would like to be invited, like they said, with a red carpet. The number one YouTube reactor of all Sri Lankan music. So, yeah, someone said, don't bring Yoshis into the argument. Yoshis are already always part of the argument. So, yes, Premasiri Kim Adasa, who sings Hemin Sare, which is the first two words of the song. Yay, 1980. I like that it sounds older than 1980, because in 1980 we were already like almost a Top Gun in America, you know. Highway to the danger zone, dun, 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 you know. Dun, 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 and it's like, take my breath away, you know, that was like our like Top Gun, okay? Yet back in Sri Lanka, they're like making kind of soundtracks that sound circa 1950 America, 1960, and I think that's cool. I actually like that. There's a little bit of a delay from what, like, I'm not saying, you know, like, let's say the film industry really started in Hollywood. I mean, it kind of did, okay? So like, whatever. Then there's like a trickle down to the other countries. Now other countries have huge film productions. Like Bollywood is maybe bigger than Hollywood in numbers. I don't know. Chinese movie industry is very big, But there was an era before the internet where I feel like America would do things in music and TV, and then it would trickle down later. Now you could argue the British did that with the rock and roll in the 60s, 70s, right? British rock and roll then became like the trendsetters and went out. And you could argue that about a lot of different countries, that we didn't know what other people were doing until decades later. But I do like that this sounds very old-fashioned for 1980. That's what I mean. If I had just listened to this and not known, I would have been like, oh, this is probably a 1972 movie or 1968. I would have like dated it a little bit past, you know. I wouldn't have been like, oh, it's 1946. No, I would have been like, it's definitely, but I wouldn't have put it in 1980, because in 1980 America, our films sounded very different already. So again, I just think that's part of it being a different culture, and I think it has to do with the instruments of the country and the way songs sounded there. It's pretty cool, actually, but very different than Top Gun. What is Top Gun? 1982? Let me look. Top Gun, 1986. Okay, so we're talking a little bit later. Let's look at top films of 1980. Okay, top films of 1980. The Shining, I've seen that. Very freaky. Jack Nicholson. The Empire Strikes Back. Oh, yeah. Empire Strikes Back, that's actually one of my favorite movies ever. I've never seen number 4. 5, Airplane. That movie's so funny. It used to be on TV all the time. The jokes on Airplane are ridiculous. Fame, remember my name. Fame. Again, sounds very different. Ordinary People, I don't think I've seen that. The Fog, never seen that. The Big Red One, never seen it. Heaven's Gate, never seen it. I haven't seen any of these other ones. Oh, I've seen Coal Miner's Daughter, I think. Never saw the Blues Brothers, Gloria, Teddy Bear. Nope. Gonna keep going. American Gigolo, heard of it, never seen it. Blue Lagoon, heard of it, never seen it. Elephant Man, heard of it, never seen it. Friday the 13th, heard of it, never seen it. The Freddy Krueger, right? So yeah, just to see like what movies were coming out in 1980, to kind of get a sense of the soundtracks of those versus the soundtrack of this. I just like to compare because I'm American, and so I only know my own thing, right? Like I only know what I know. So I have to relate. People sometimes go, why do you relate it to that? And I go, because I'm like, that is my reference point. My reference points are based on what I actually know. So that's why I have such, sometimes I compare things that maybe you wouldn't compare, but that's my own lived experience. So anyway, that was an amazing video. Please subscribe. You can comment on what you think of this movie. Is it worth seeing the movie? Are there any other Sri Lankan film music that I should be listening to? Do you agree with my analysis on the female-male energy kind of thing, the masculine and feminine, the call and response, the fact that he listens, then he makes the melody his own? What do we think about that? Because I thought it was pretty cool. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe the translations were terrible. All those things you can tell me in the comments. And I got recommended to this because I think someone put this in a comment. And I don't always look at comments, but when I was pulling up, I wanted to do a Sri Lankan video today. So I was like, oh, let me look through my comments and see what someone recommended. So anyway, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.